All right, we're ready for some wins, aren't we? Joanne, how's your long drive into the city?
Good, good. I'm doing it again today, so it's the second day today.
So, what major scripts did you learn yesterday?
Yeah, we did tie downs and uh, what is the other thing called? Bi- Binding. What's it called? Bind. I forgot the words. Binding. Binding.
Bindings?
Oh God, I don't have the
Don't
book.
don't do it. You're driving.
I'm driving.
Well, clearly she
Yeah,
learned the tie downs,
I
isn't that
learned.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. I really loved it. So I really loved it.
Yeah, tie downs are
I
important when you think.
yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, tie downs are one of the most important part of our real estate communications. You'd agree, right?
I do. I do.
For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, I'm putting a tie down on every sentence I've said. Did you catch it?
Tie down. What is that?
A tie down is an anchor to a point. It can be as simple as a single word. Isn't that right, Jim?
That would be correct. Dan, do you agree?
Indubitably. So, one of my favorite tie downs. So, who else has a win?
Well, well, doing it like we had to do follow-ups, and I was able to get a buyer consult out of it. So
Good
that's another.
job.
Yeah.
My win is I got a call that we're going to close early, which is amazing.
That's amazing.
My win is my kids were with their dad for 2 weeks on vacation, but they came home yesterday and now they're back with me.
That's awesome. Getting the kiddos back. Can I send my kids to their dads, your dads for the
Oh,
week?
yeah, right.
God, I got home yesterday and it was just Hiroshimic. It was bad. I'm gonna go back to work. No, we got them all siphoned out. It's funny. My wife's like, yeah, I talked the two older ones to go to the movies. My Nana took the two younger ones to the movies, and I've only got two of them, so it's been decent. I'm like, okay, great. So other wins. Guys, you want to hear other wins, don't you?
Yes. I had this client that did like a real-time tour, but never responded to my calls or texts, but they eventually reached back out to me. And now we're gonna go tour a couple of million-dollar homes today. So
Very
that's
cool.
gonna be fun.
I think that's a blast.
My win is I got my first Zillow client yesterday. It was kind of unexpected, and I wasn't going to accept it, like the tour request, and ended up doing it. And he wants to put in an offer as soon as he gets pre-approved.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Congrats. There's some cool things going on. I had a beautiful chat yesterday with Caitlin in the office. She came in, she's like, Dan, I need to work on scripting. I'm like, yep, you do. No shame to Caitlin, but we all do. We all need to work on our language patterns. We all need to work on our ability to ask questions. When you hear of scripting, what do you think? Be honest with me. What do you think?
Memorizing some campy dialogue in order to get business.
There you go. Memorization of a paragraph, right? Anyone else feel the same sentiment?
And when I
Sort
think
of
about it, I
a
kind of think of like practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice.
Building a framework to continue the conversation.
Yeah, Mikey's been around a long time, so he understands the framework. But what I think is all over the spectrum, people here read from the script. Well, that's someone else's words written down or your words written down to follow in a typical conversation along those lines. Do scripts work for every situation?
no.
Would it surprise you that that's a trick question?
Yeah, depends on what your pivot's at, right?
Yeah. Mikey's right. You can pivot. Joanne's learning the language of sales. It's a fantastic course. I don't know if that's the exact name of the one she's going to, but she's along those lines. Keller Williams teaches called Language of Sales. And in those, you have tie downs, you have bridges, you have pivots, you have presuppositions and post suppositions, because you're creating language that's powerful in the conversion of what you're trying to get your client to do. It could be a Zillow call, it could be a referral, it could be someone at the Starbucks. And the scripting part of it is being prepared for the conversation. The scripting comes from practice. It comes from engagement. It comes from learning to ask good questions. It comes from walking through different types of those conversations over and over and over again. Because no two buyers are going to have the exact same question set. No two sellers are going to have the exact same objections. But they might be in the same family. They might be in the same spirit of. I would rather you be an excellent question asker than someone who can memorize long paragraphs of information. Why is that?
Well, if you ask the right questions, you'll get the information you need. But if you just memorize the script, I mean, it could, if it's not fitting, you're not going to get where you want to get.
Yeah. If you know how to ask good questions, you create framework for conversations. Some of us are naturally born talkers. We can gab with the best of them, right? Bump our gums a lot to create meaningless conversations that last for hours. And that's okay. People like that. Now, what we do is we have to be able to ask questions or add these pivots in conversation to be able to navigate towards an end result that ends up in our pockets, right? If we are a real estate professional and we have all this great real estate service, does it mean anything to someone who doesn't need it? No, right? Do I need to give somebody an umbrella at night?
If it's raining.
How do you know? Is it raining? I don't know. So some of those things is planting beliefs. We can have conversations with people and be like, you're probably like most of my clients. I like that. In that simple sentence, what have I done?
Made them feel like they're like someone else.
Yeah. People like to do business with people like them. And people tend to like people like them. So when I tell you you're like some of my other clients, it tells you I'm already putting you in a box of people that are like each other. And those people chose to work with me.
And social proofing.
Exactly. And so you, because of social proofing, should work with me also. There's a lot more in the words that we're saying than you guys realize. You guys would like to get the best return from your work, wouldn't you? Cash a tie down. How many people felt their head nod automatically when I said, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was nodding.
That was a tie down. That is me getting you to subconsciously agree to what I just said.
Well, there's a key right there.
Tell us more.
It's not about what I'm feeling. It's about getting them to realize what they need to do.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what we're thinking, doing, distracted by. What matters is the conversation that we have with the person that we're interacting with and helping them navigate whatever decision that looks like. That could be a tough situation. Like, do we need to concede on our price, or do we ask for more credits and concessions? Do we go back and say, hey, we're done, we're out? Or do we do the easy thing and just say yes? Oftentimes people rely on your guidance to make those tough decisions, and it's really easy for you to help them navigate those tough choices when you are very good at the communication underlying them. Correct? Joanne's all, shit, I'm learning all of this again. I hear it again. Now Joanne's gonna be like, damn, he's been scripting me the entire time. I really have. I really have. There is very few things in my life that are not scripted. Because I take a moment to think about before I respond. Y'all should see me when I'm emotional. Like highly energetic, emotional, like angry, pissed off, sad. Like the words don't come out. I trip on my tongue. I say some stupid stuff. I babble. So I take a second to think about what's the impact I'm trying to make and what statement's going to help me get there the most. And the language of sales helps us in life too, because we can have these presuppositions and we could talk about when you buy with me, when you hire me to sell your house, when we go look at houses together. We can tie in agreement before we ever get there. Are we catching that?
Yes.
I think this is some of the most important patterning you have in real estate. The conversations you have is helping people lean towards a decision. In the car business, we called it, presumptive selling. Hey, Jim, who's the first person you're going to tell about your new house? Right? Hey, Jessica, when's your first party going to be when you buy a new house? I'm putting you into the future state. In the car business, we should say, hey, Lydia, do you get to park in the driveway or in the garage? And she's all, I get to park in the garage. I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm so excited. No, because we're asking those questions because we want you to get into the mindset of ownership. We want you to already be there.
I do that to the kids at the open houses. Which room did you pick out?
Yeah, which room's yours? Oh, this one over here, Mr. Jim. Let me show you. It's this one over here. It's amazing how people will respond to that. Now, presuppositions move you towards a decision. Very simply. We've talked about anchors a little bit. If you guys want some more anchors, use your chat bot, use your chat GPT, use your broker bot, whatever, and work on what are some tie downs I can put into my business. What are some things that I can anchor into my conversations now that give me more impact in the conversations I'm having? Statement, comma, anchor. You guys all want more business. Statement, comma, right? Anchor. Get your agreement. If the house was the right price in the right neighborhood and the right interest rate, you would buy it, right? Anchor. Simple anchor, right? Wouldn't you agree? Another one. It is in your best interest that we get this home sold fast. Wouldn't you agree? There's a lot of choices out there for airline fare. Thank you for choosing Delta. We're the best. Wouldn't you agree? Statement, agreement, anchor it. If we find the right property, you'd be ready to write an offer, correct? Anchor, question, anchor. If the terms make sense, you'd be open to moving forward with me, right? These are very simple ones. Correct, right, wouldn't you? And? What else can you think of to be an anchor?
Were you thinking the same?
Wouldn't you think the same? I like that, right? Creative way of saying, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you think the same? These are things that move people off the fence without feeling pressured. Hey, the market's crazy
Another
right
thing too is elevating the status.
Hmm.
What would your friends think if they saw this kitchen?
Okay. Bringing in some social proofing. Now let's move on to some presuppositions. I think these are like the Jedi mind tricks of subtly assuming ownership or assuming something to be true. You're moving them into a decision. And if it's done right, it removes a lot of resistance, which is kind of funny. Hey, when I pick you up for our date on Friday, where do you want to go to dinner? For my single guys and gals out there, you're welcome. These are the droids you were looking for. Or was it two fingers? I don't know how you're supposed to do that. The dark side doesn't have hand movements, okay? We just have cooler swords. Our leader can't breathe all that well.
Asthmatic.
little asthmatic. So presuppositions, as we review offers, when we get your home under contract, here's some things I want you to look for. Once we find the right place, how quickly would you want to move in? Not if we find the right place, when we do. Once we find the right place.
Can you tell me again, is presuppositions the statement?
So anchors and presuppositions are completely different. Presuppositions are what you're putting into. It's kind of a, what's what word I'm looking for? And it's assumption of something. It's get them to assume something to be fact.
Okay.
When you sign up for ballet with me, when you choose to use me as your listing agent, when we're out looking at houses, when we write your offer, I'm assuming that they're going to write an offer. I'm assuming they're going to use me as their agent. I'm going to assume they're going to let me sell their house. You see that? That's a presupposition, or we can say it as a pre-assumption.
Okay.
Right.
And then the statements are just a part of the anchor.
Yeah, your statements become like, price is important. Statement. Comma. Right? Just mental break. And then you add your anchor. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay. Thank you.
Because we're gonna say stuff like that as marketing, having a good marketing team is important. Wouldn't you agree? Like, it's hard for me not to have an anchor when I say something, because I want this point to be a message that I'm having them lead toward.
Are you saying that comes through practice and training and constantly doing it?
You know what, Mike? Once you've scripted as much as I have, it tends to be your normal language pattern. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's honestly paying attention to having conversations with you, pick it up, and it just comes natural. It's not like it's. I think it's a perfect example of it not being scripting. It's just like, I'll expect you to say something to me and you just be like, I'll expect a reaction from you about something that comes up, with the exception of, the uncle dying in a home. And I'll expect something from you and you'll just be like, okay, tell me more. Or what does your buyer want? Or what does the seller want? And it's like, it's good training to have those conversations with you, just to be like, okay, that's what I need to do more of.
Well, that's a great point. Even Caitlin said this yesterday. Caitlin, I'm sorry about bringing you in the fire on this, but I think it's a great point, because you're not alone in that, Caitlin. And like he just showed you, he's expecting me to give him back some kind of response, but I hit him with a question instead.
Yeah, I'm expecting you to be like in alignment to what I'm thinking, and instead it's it's not your decision. It's
clarity. I want clarity. Right. We ask more questions in that because objections are just objections. We ask questions to clarify the objections that we can move forward. We'll get to that again, a different call, I think. But I love that you're picking up on the questions to gain clarity to move forward, because in our hearts, we all have a response. Somebody says X, we want to say Y. And it's like, I'm just waiting for the time. It's like a horse at the gates. And as soon as they drop the gates, the horse is off running. We're like, as soon as you say the magic words, I'm going to run into my script. I've been practicing this script for weeks. I've memorized the whole thing. I'm excited. Just say the magic words. And they say the magic words and you're just mumbling off, right? That is because we're waiting to respond, not listening to understand. When you ask good questions, you follow up with presuppositions to move the needle. You anchor down on conversations to move people off of a fence post. You provide them with value in conversation that supersedes just memorizing a script. And you sound more genuine. You're congruent with what you're saying. Now, do you need to have some scripts memorized? Yes, you do. You need to have some canned responses that help you navigate tough situations. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I completely understand that this is not the value that you were looking for in selling your house. I assure you, we will do everything in our power to negotiate the best value for you so you can walk away with as much money in your pocket as possible. See, I even trip up on trying to memorize the script. But when you're good at the framework and you're good at having conversations naturally and you're good at anchoring and presuppositions and doing your bridging and stuff like that, you create better conversations that flow easier. And it's almost like magic. People are just doing what you want them to. You get a lot of, wow, that was easy. Oh, you made this so simple. No, I just got you to do what you already wanted to do without making you feel like I did it. It's kind of sorcery, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
A little bit of word ninjery. Like I use canned scripts all the time. All the time. So here we go. In my text this morning. This is a text to the listing agent. I know my clients pretty well. You know your clients pretty well. What would you have me do without giving away the playbook? It's because we're negotiating a $10,000 difference on a house. We're so close. Not, what's the best the seller's going to do? I'm sorry. Everybody's heard that and they're going to object around it. Mikey, do you have a question?
Not necessarily a question. It's just more of a tip. One of my biggest hurdles is, you know me, I overthink too much and
No.
get in my own way. So it's the biggest thing about scripting, obviously you got to kind of get rid of that whole idea that you're memorizing a script or canning it or whatever. And then you also got to try to remember not to, you're not going to get it the first time. You throw a sponge into a puddle of water, what does it do? Soaks it up. Go back and keep trying, keep practicing. Pick up one little thing every single time. I've been at this for 6 years now, and it's just like it's still setting in to me when I have conversations with Dan or even other agents or whatever of how it works, and it's you just got to keep picking it up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when you're going to practice, have a clear mind, get rid of whatever things you need to do, what you need to have, what you need to survive in order to absorb it better.
Audra?
I have a situation. So I'm trying to see how I'm going to come at my clients, but my contract is getting ready to run out, the listing, and they said they wanted to rent it. So
Then
if
rent
it doesn't sell,
then rent it.
huh?
Then rent it.
I was thinking, should I see if they want to put it for rent and for sale to see what happens first? Is that a thing possible?
You are not a property manager. So you can't.
No, I can't. I know I can't rent it. I know that.
But if it goes under, like it's a nightmare headache to do that, Audra. Why don't we take that to a different
Oh.
call because it's kind of breaking the train of our conversation. I love that you got a call,
Okay.
but don't have to wait
Uh,
this call to ask it. You can text me. I know you have my number, right?
yeah, of course.
Yeah. When you call me later, we'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
All right, guys. In that sentence, that last sentence I gave to Audra, what'd you hear?
Validated and empathy and offered solutions.
Okay. Just in the topics we're talking about today, presuppositions and anchors, did I use them in the last sentence?
Both of them.
You did
Pre,
an anchor. You said okay.
and you also did a pre thing of when you call me later, then we could discuss it. Okay. So you both.
You can, like, seriously, you can put them in every conversation to make a more impactful sentence. Now practice it, try it, use it. I love when you can look at language patterns and create some ninjery. sharpening your swords and go out there and you're creating some cool stuff. Because how many of us have struggled through a conversation? We got someone that's just been tough to deal with. Our communication seems to be zooming right past them. Right? Think about the words you're saying it to have an impact, or the quality of your questions. Take ownership of the relationships. Take ownership of the conversations and be able to move past them. And just get people back on the same side. When you are so heavily tied to the outcome of the objection, it's hard for you to navigate to a better path. Like Mikey said, he's expecting me to be on his side with things. And it kind of throws him off when I'm not. Not that I'm not, it's just because in that moment, I haven't made a decision. I need more information. I ask questions, I gain clarity. Oftentimes, the objections we're dealing with have nothing to do with you and I. Do they? And when we handle objections for people that don't have to deal with us, we have to keep our emotions out of it. So you're going to have those situations. You're going to have those conversations. You're going to have those friction points. I want you to do a quick self-inventory and ask yourself, is it me that's doing this? Am I creating this? Anyone ever had a really jerky conversation with somebody? They're just mean, aggressive, and now every conversation you have with that person seems to be kind of short, maybe a little abrasive. Reset. Apologize. I am so sorry. I think we got off on the wrong page. I'm sorry. I believe that you and I might be on two different paths of communication. What can we do to get back on the center? I feel like you and I are not on the same page here. Let's reset. And then go forward again. When you and I are having conversations, I want to make sure that we're on the same page. That's important, right? Joanne's just over here like cheeking it up. She's like, this is fun. I know what he's doing. You can stack them. Do you guys know you can stack presuppositions? Yeah, once we review your prequal and we've seen a few top picks for this weekend, you'll probably have a strong sense of what you want, and that makes the most financial, and emotional sense for you. And that's when we can lock it in and make the right move. Wouldn't you agree? Just call me Yoda. Big ass, bald, big-eared Yoda. Now, are you going to have that lengthy of a comment? Probably not. I just want to showcase you can. So things to work on today is work on some of those anchors. And it's as simple as statement, agreement. I look good in black shirts, right? Statement, agreement. Hey, when you guys all agree that I look good in black shirts, I'll stop asking about it. Presupposition. Because I'm telling you, you're going to do something when you guys do something. Now, to master this, do it every day. Practice 10 questions a day, 10 presuppositions a day, 10 anchors a day. Write them down, review them. But Dan, that sounds a lot like homework. Yes, it is. It's called mastery. It's called sharpening your axe. When you practice, aren't you going to get a little better at it? Become more natural with it? Maybe. Maybe. The one thing I'll tell you, you'll be more exposed to it. And exposure sometimes is one of the best teachers. Any other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns on that topic before I kick you out of here?
You can't learn to drive in a parked car.
I loved that, actually, Mikey. That was a great post. I don't know where he found that, but it was his Instagram post. It says you can't learn to drive in a parked car. I was like, that is beautiful. Get out there and make some mistakes. Hopefully not in a car, because that's how people get hurt. So, all right, guys. Any other thoughts? Let me know. Was today worth your time?
Definitely.
Good. I'm glad you were here. I'm glad you learned something. I'm excited for you guys to go out there and start changing your fate by using the right words.